Okay, so I'm gonna go over question 1 with you. So it says draw a Bohr diagram with atomic number 3 and 8. So now you pull up a periodic table and you look for, in the periodic table, you look for the atomic number 3. So in order to find the atomic number, you have to find where it says 3. That's the atomic number. And if you look at the periodic table, you'll see that lithium, Li, is atomic number 3. Okay, so that's lithium. And then you have to find atomic number 8, which is, if you look in your periodic table, you'll see O. You'll see 8 is oxygen, which is O. And here, down here, you'll see these numbers over here. This is called atomic mass. This one is 15.99. This is atomic mass of oxygen, atomic mass of lithium, LiO, okay? Atomic number. So, in order to find how many protons and neutrons does each of these have, so protons are pretty much the number of electrons, number of protons is pretty much the atomic number, okay? So when you look at this number up here, 3 and 8, that's the number of protons that it has. So if you look at lithium, Li, it has 3 protons, okay? So lithium has 3 protons. And then if you look at the neutrons, in order to find neutrons, you have to subtract the atomic mass, this number, 6.94, so you round it up, so it's technically 7, and you subtract it with the number of protons, and that's how you get neutrons. So then you go 7 minus 3 equals 4. So that's the number of neutrons you have for lithium. 4 neutrons, 3 protons. For oxygen, number of protons are 8, so you have 8 protons. And you do 16 minus, because this is 15.99, so you round it up, the atomic mass, minus 8, you get 8 neutrons. Okay, so that's how you find proton and neutrons. Now we're going to draw the Bohr diagram for lithium and oxygen in its atomic state. So now there's 2 different Bohr diagrams that you can draw for lithium and oxygen. One is when it's an atom, and another when it's an ion. Atom is when it's stable. Atom is when it's stable. So technically, okay, so ion is when it's charged, okay? So when you have a negative charge or a positive charge, so by looking at lithium like this, can you tell if this is charged or not? You can tell by looking at the periodic table, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? So first, let's answer question number 1, and let's just answer how to draw the Bohr diagram in the atomic state, because that's what the question is asking you. So we'll ignore the ion right now, and I'll show you that for question number 2, okay? So for question number 1, for lithium, okay, so let's do lithium, Bohr diagram right here. So first thing, you want to draw your nucleus, okay? So you're going to do, one second, just move. Okay, so you're going to draw your lithium in a nucleus and draw a nucleus around it right there, okay? Now, how do you know how many orbitals to make? So what I'm trying to say is when you do a Bohr diagram, you usually do stuff like this, right? So how do you know how many orbitals you have to make? So there's a trick to this. So if you go to your periodic table, okay, okay, let me take you to the periodic table, one second. So you see this is a periodic table, right? So you see the numbers up top here, 1, 2, 3, 4. These numbers are called groups, okay? So whichever group your element is in, is the amount of valence electrons it will have. Whichever period, so these numbers right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're called periods. Whichever period it is in, it will have that many orbitals. So if you look at lithium, okay, lithium is in period 2. Okay, let's write that down. So lithium is in period 2 and in group 1. Okay, so the top numbers are groups. This number 1 to 18, those are groups. This number 1 to 7, they're called periods. So lithium is in group 1. It's in group 1 and period 2. Okay, so we wrote group 1 here and period 2. So group 1, the group means number of valence electrons. I'll tell you what that is after. And period is the number of orbitals or shells. So these over here, 1 shell, 2 shell, 3 shell, that tells you how many shells you have to make. So if lithium, you have period 2, that means you're going to make 2 shells. So that's 1 shell, and that's another shell around it. That's it. Okay? Now, how do you know where to put the electrons? So, you know that your atomic number is 3. Okay? So you have to put, there's going to be 3 electrons on here. So you know that the first shell, the first orbital, can only hold maximum of 2 electrons. So you draw 1 electron, 2 electron. Now the second shell, you will put the third electron, because remember, lithium has 3 electrons. So you're going to put the third one here. Okay, so now this is your Bohr diagram for lithium. Now let's do oxygen. Okay, to oxygen, let's go back to, let's find out which group it's in and which period it's in. So go back to your periodic table. So oxygen is in, so you see 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see, oxygen is right here. It's in group 16. Okay, let's write that down. Oxygen is in group 16. And which period is it in? Let's see. So this is oxygen. We go across and we look this. Okay, so this is 2. So that's oxygen is in period 2. So where you put period 2 here. So what does this mean? So when I said that it's in group 1, it means that it has 1 valence electron, right? I'll tell you what that is after. This is 16. It doesn't mean it's 16 electrons. You have to ignore the 1. So it's just look at the last number. So that means this has number of electrons, number of valence electrons is 6. Okay, so what I mean by valence electrons means the outermost shell will carry that many electrons. So we have 1 here because it's in group 1. That means the outermost shell has only 1 electron. That's valence, right? That's by itself, on its own. And then when we look at oxygen, now we'll draw oxygen's Bohr diagram. So we put O. Okay, we make, so oxygen period 2, which means we make 2 shells. This is our first shell. This is our second shell. Remember, it's in period 2, so we made 2 shells. Lithium was in period 2, so we made 2 shells. Okay, I'll go over one more after. Now, how do you know how many electrons to put on here? So let me go back to your atomic number. It is 8 electrons. So you put, remember, the first shell can only have 2. So 1 electron, 2 electron. The second shell can hold 8. So you draw 1. So you have 1, 2. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. I stop at 8. So count them up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So now you have total, now you're done your Bohr diagram for oxygen. But remember I told you what this means, valence electrons. The reason why it's 6 here is because the outermost shell has only 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what the group means. It means that the outer shell has 6 valence electrons. Okay, so now this is your answer to question number 1. Oxygen's Bohr diagram is right here. Lithium's Bohr diagram is right here. This is how you calculate protons and neutrons for both of them. Okay, now we're gonna go to number 2.